Good afternoon, everybody. So, people who are joining online, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. I'm on your screen.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, please turn off your camera. Okay, you can keep your microphone on, no problem, but turn off your camera. Good afternoon, everybody. So let us start our lecture this evening. So according to our lecture, our schedule, so this week we is then one-dimensional slice array is module 4 part 2. Okay, so we will discuss actually module 4 part 2. So but before we start module 4 part 2, so module 3, let us quickly review module 3 part 4. Module 3 part 4, module 3. Okay, actually repetition, that was that part 1 repetition, right? That was actually I'm sorry, this is not for yours. Yeah, module 4 part 1. Before we go, so module 4 part 1 was repetition. So in our last lecture we completed module 4 part 1. That is the repetition structure. So before we go to our today's module 4 part 2, I want to do a quick review of module part, looping part statement. So actually I finished my this part in our previous lecture. So before we go through one quick review, so I see only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Still a little bit better than the morning session. In the morning session, there was only 11 students. They came face to face. So out of more than 100 students, you are coming 10%. Okay, 10 to 12%. So you are about 15%. So how was in your last lecture? It was completely online, right? I did not come here. So how was that? This like face to face, like this better or the online? You prefer face to face? Anyone here joined in the virtual class in last lecture? Anyone joined here? Joined in the last lecture? Virtually, who joined? You joined? Were you able to hear or see the screen clearly? Huh? Okay, that's good. So yeah, I like more students to come in. So we are discussing this week. So we have already finished. We finished repetition structure. So at this point, you need to really give attention and practice. Otherwise, this course will be hard at the end. Okay, so I'm not sure that other students who are not joining either face to face or virtually. So I see virtually how many students? Let me see. I see 26 students. So 26 plus 16 over here. So 40, 42, 40, 40, still less than half. 40% students are joining. What I can do to increase our participants? Yeah, anyone has any suggestion? So I like you see that in our first year experience page, on the left menu, all the way end, you see that FYE feedback. So if you go here and select 1321, and you can be anonymous or you can write your email address or not. And please give us some suggestion. Okay, how do you like this course to make more better and interesting so that more people join in, okay, and you can learn it better, okay? That's good. So if our face-to-face participant goes below 10%, I will make it completely online, okay? So for only one few students, there is no point to coming, okay? Yeah. So people who are joining online, anyone has any opinion that you can share with us? Okay, so today's class, so I see only a few participants, so you can keep your microphone unmuted. Yeah, but please keep your video off, okay? Yeah, I see there's still one student requested to join in. Actually, I sent this email out early this semester, right? So it is unexpected that you are joining right now. You are sending me. Okay. So in our previous two lectures, we discussed looping control statement, right? While loop, do while, for, and then break and continue, we discussed, right? So what is the main difference between a while and a do while? Anyone can tell me? What is the main difference between a while and do while? Yes. You're pretty close, but I wanted to hear something more concrete or accurate. Okay. Yes, do while executes the conditions body at one time, right? That is the main thing. Okay, and do execute the statement if the condition is true, right? Okay, and for loop is widely used. Especially we will see today that we use for loop a lot, especially for array operation. Okay, but why did we start from while? Because in natural language, spoken language in English, we use while a lot frequently. We do not use for very frequently, but we use while very frequently, right? When speaking in English. So we started with while, and then we discussed do while, and we ended with for loop. So everything that can be done with while loop can be done using a for loop. Okay. So in our last lecture, we discussed that. Especially like this program, I asked you to practice. Okay, and that program's for loop version we discussed. Here in this program. Yeah, I asked everybody to practice this program because it has looping control statement, for loop, and you see that at the beginning there is an empty. So empty means there was supposed to have something here, but that part, the initialization part of the counter variable of for loop or index variable, we say that was defined here. So in the for loop, even if we can define this part above the for loop, because this part executes only one time. Okay, so this even if make it empty, if you do not define it, still you have to keep a blank space over here. And then the semicolon, and this part it executes always every time. As long as this part is true, the for loop continues, right? And this part also, there was missing part over here. So this part is the increment or decrement that is defined over here in the body. So every time it executes. So here in the for loop, we will see that only this part, but in while loop, you will see this part only. But for loop, you will have all three parts, or if you have only this part, at least you need this part, you should have this part, and then other two parts will have blank and semicolon. Okay, I like everybody to practice this program. It has the prefix and postfix notation of increment operator. You can do decrement operator, minus, minus, please, okay, also. So we discussed this program in our last lecture, and in this program, another program we discussed, for instance, break and continue, right? Break is used to stop a loop, to exit from a loop, and continue is used to skip the current iteration. But it does not, continue does not break the loop. It does not stop the loop. It just skips one statement, one iteration. For instance, in this program, what we are asking in this program, can anyone explain, please, what is happening in this program? What will happen in this program? So it start with the number initialized with 0, right? And it says while number less than 20. Okay, okay, so not this program. Actually, I wanted to discuss this one. So this is the simple version of this one. So yes, number start from 0, and then while number less than 10, we are incrementing the number. That means number is getting starting from 0 to 1. And then here we say if number equal to 5 or number equal to 6, then we say continue. And then we say sum equal to sum plus number. So can anyone explain me what is happening here mainly? Who can tell me? Yes, it is not going to add 5 or 6, but what are the numbers are being added? You can see what are the numbers are being added. So initially the numbers are here initialized as 0, right? Then it is incremented by 1, right? So then in the first iteration we are getting 1. Then it is going to 2, right? And then we are getting 3, right? And then we are getting 4, right? And then if it gets 5, then what will happen? It will skip it, right? It will continue. That means this statement, this loop will be skipped, then it will go to the next iteration. Then what will be the happen? So next iteration it will get 6, right? And then 6 will be skipped, right? Again 6 will be skipped. So then what will happen? It will go to the next iteration, then it will go for 7, and then 8, and then 9, and then lastly it will get 10. So these are the numbers. So here you see this is the plus sign. So there are some missing over here, right? So at this point, 5 and 6 are not being added. Do you understand this? Okay. But what would happen if there was a break over here instead of this continue? Okay. Can anyone please explain me what would happen if there was a break instead of instead of this continue, if you have a break, what would happen? Yes. So when it will stop? When it will stop? So what will be my output? If there is a break, what would happen? Yes. So this will give 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and then at this point, if once it get 5, then it will break, right? It will go outside of the loop. Then it will not reach to 6, right? So then it will be 10, right? 6 plus 7, 3, 10, right? The output will be 10. So I like everybody to practice this program, okay? Change this number and sometime make continue to break and break to continue, and then try to understand the effect. Then you will understand this. Anyone has any question so far? Okay, this will be a good practice. Okay, so if you practice this, then this course will be interesting for you. And then we discuss this program. I asked you to practice this program. So like this is like to make a simple, very simple calculating program. So it will do just add, subtract, multiply, and divide of two numbers. Okay, and it will have another option, quit. So for instance, we need to do an initial infinite loop. The infinite loop will continue until you press Q, or you type in quit, or even you can make it Q. If you type in Q, then it will exit. Otherwise, for instance, if you type in A, then it will do the add operation. If you press in S, then it will do subtraction. And if you press M, then it will do multiplication. If you press D, then it will do division operation. So addition, subtraction, and multiplication, these are quite simple to add one number with another number, right? For the division number, there is a trick over here, right? We know that we cannot divide a number by 0. So if you face the second number 0, right, then you need to either to break or continue your loop, and you need to give a message that, oh, you cannot divide a number by 0 or something, right? So you need to something. So if you do a Google search, you will see that menu program, how to do in menu program. It's simple, that infinite loop, there is infinite loop that you can do this one. So you can use while or do while loop, especially do while in this case should be better. So the pseudocode of what is here, and so please practice this program. Okay, make this pseudocode as a program code. Please try it at home. Okay, and that's the last program. So this program, it says, so you will do an infinite loop and you will enter a number, for instance 10. So whatever the number what you enter, the program will add up the number up to that number. For instance, if you enter 10, the program will add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 until 10. And then it will give you the sum of 1 to 10. And then if you understand that, then you can do easily, you can find the average, right, or mean of the numbers from 1 to 10. You can do a lot of things. Okay, but this program, practice this program. Okay, so if you practice this program, then so far how many programs? The pseudocode is here, is given. Okay, and then you need to spend some time to practice this. So far I gave you maybe about 20 to 22 programs to practice, and I believe if you practice this program, then you will have a good start to the program. Especially, for instance, we need one more module that is called function. And if you understand, so after this week, so this week we will discuss array. And then if after this, if you understand function, then you will have a good startup to start programming, like pretty medium level programming. Okay, but you have to start with, you have to practice the, so far I gave you about 22 programs. You have to practice, and maybe today I will give you 2 or 3 more programs to practice. Okay, those are from array. So anyone has any question about looping and loop control statement?
Yeah, how would you approach designing a mobile website?
Sorry?
How would you approach designing a mobile website, a website designed for mobile devices?
Okay, so that is a good question, but it is too early.
I know, but what would you start with?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, so it is too early for me to teach you that. So in order to be an efficient skilled app developer, web app developer, so you need to take not only this course, you need to understand object-oriented programming that we teach in 1322. In 1322, if you take 1322, then you will have a good understanding of object-oriented programming.
I'm just saying, what IDE or
Okay,
whatever?
I'm going to your answer. Give me 1 more second, please. I'm giving a detailed answer. Okay. Then you need to take software engineering class, database class, software engineering class. After that, you will have a good understanding. Okay. Then by that time you will understand that the IDE and the programs you will use. So for many applicants, there are many IDE. For instance, so that depends on the language to language. So far, you know that with simple program we practice with Replit, but for the sophisticated program, Eclipse or PyCharm is used for Python, and also IntelliJ are used. So today nowadays, a mobile-based application is used with a combination of multiple languages. Like for instance, AngularJS is one of the popular tool framework. It is used to connect JavaScript, okay, like CSS and HTML in the front end, and in the back end there will be database connection, and in order to connect database people use either Java or Python or C#. Okay, so there are multiple languages, and by this time, for instance, in Angular, if you want to Angular JS, there are multiple IDEs. So if you ask a specific like Visual Studio Code, I sometimes use what is that called, Atom, and another one I use when I use Windows. I use Windows that is called, I forgot. So there are many IDs. For instance, if you want to develop Android, you're talking about maybe Android app design. So you Android Studio, and then if you want to
I'm a specific
iPhone app, then there is Xcode you can use.
Are you familiar with FileZilla?
So what?
Are you familiar with FileZilla?
Yeah. FileZilla is a different one. FileZilla is used to upload some file to your server. Okay, so in this course, for this course, we do not need to use FileZilla.
Okay.
So in this course, we do not need to use FileZilla. I do have FileZilla, maybe. I do have FileZilla. So sometimes you see that I use VLC, I use Visual Studio, I do use, it should have in my hand, this computer, EF. Okay, FileZilla is used to upload a file from your computer to a server. Okay, so we are not using FileZilla. So those are the FileZilla is not a programming language, that is a tool. Okay. Okay, so are you happy with my answer, or you need specific? So it seems to me, that you know some kind of software development. So that means if you are advanced, then you can come to me, and then in our office hour, sometime we can help you. I can help you. This course is an introduction to programming. Okay, we are not going in depth. Has anyone any more question? Okay, so if you do not have any question, then for the next 40 minutes, we will discuss module 4 part 2. Okay, so introduction to 1D array. So module 4 part 2, introduction to 1D array. So as you see, it's a good thing that our developers use them. An array, so you will see a lot of brackets. We use a lot of brackets. Bracket means I'm coming soon, so you understand the what is in a bracket. This is square bracket. Okay. So let us go. I will discuss this one. Okay. So an array. So what is an array? Okay, the concept of array came from the concept of list. Okay, so in some languages it's still called a list, like Python. like F sharp, and then other languages, some similar languages, it's called list. But in the languages we are learning C++, C sharp, and Java, it is called an array. So an array is basically a list implementation, an implementation of a list. So what is a list? A list is basically a set. Okay, so everybody is familiar with a set in math. Whenever you studied math in elementary or even middle or high school or elementary school, you understand, you learn about set, right? So what is a set? Can anyone please tell me the definition of a set? What is a set? A group of numbers, okay, pretty close. Okay. Anyone? You're pretty close, but you can concise your definition. Anyone please tell me the definition of a set? Yes. Yes, that is not only for numbers, but you are pretty close, but a group or a collection, not only a group actually, a collection, it's a group, a collection of similar items, similar objects or similar things, right? We usually say a set of books, right? A set of people, a set of chairs, a set of furniture, right? A set of toolbox, okay, a set of pencils, okay. Then that means a set is a collection of similar objects. Okay, the then list, what is a list? Yes, list is not going. A list is a kind of set, but there is a specific difference between a list and a set. Yes. Pretty close. Yeah, there are the things. Yes, you're true. But I'm trying to find out a specific difference between a list and a set. Anyone can answer? What is the difference between a list and a set? Okay, a set actually contains a a collection of a group of similar objects, right? But the set has a limitation that an item is contained only one time in a set. There cannot have any duplicate element in a set. Okay, but if there is a possibility that there will have some elements duplicate more than one time, then we will say that there is a list. So a list is a set, okay, maybe a set, okay, but it may contain, a list can contain duplicate elements. One element can have multiple times. Okay, so whenever we say set of 0, that means only one element. But if you say list of zeros, that means you can have 1 0, 2 zeros, 3 zeros, 4 zeros, or many numbers of zeros. Okay, basically all lists are set, but okay, basically all sets are list. Okay, but all lists are not set, because if there is a duplicate element, that is not a set, right? So you understand the difference between a list and a set. Okay, the array concept of array came from the concept of list. So how do we implement a list in a programming language? That is the thing that we will discuss through an array. So still in some languages like Python, we say list. Python, Lisp, and there are many languages, still they say list. But in the languages we're discussing here, C++, Java, and C Sharp, we call this array. Okay, so what is an array? An array is a collection of similar or same kind of elements. Say elements, or we can object, or we can say things. Okay, a list, in order to be a list, there are some specific properties or criteria. Okay, for instance, as we discussed that a list must contain, or an array contains the similar object, right? Same kind. Okay. So we are coming from there, and as I told you that, so in order in the programming languages, we declare an array by, we recognize an array by looking a bracket. So wherever you see a pair of brackets, you see that that is a list or an array. So far the program we discussed in our previous lectures. So in especially in Java and C. So as we know that all programs in Java and C# they started with main, and main method did have an argument. It is called string, and this is the actually the array symbol. Okay, so string, the square bracket, and this args, right? Here args is an array of string type. So in C# have this array from the beginning, and also in Java we do have this array. Okay. But in the program we discussed so far, we did not use this argument array yet. So the program we are discussing in this lecture, in this course, we will not be handling this using this area element. Okay. Maybe if you go 1322 or higher level programming, then you will learn how to have that. Not bad. Okay, so that you will learn how to use this argument array. So for now, you remember that this is an array. So what is the name of this array? args is the name of the array. So what is the type here? It types is string. So that means while running the main method, you can have some arguments that are string type. You can pass those arguments while running to your program, while running your main method. Okay. So for now, just remember that this is the symbol of an array. So in this program, so the program whatever we discussed, we have not yet this args variable yet. So then this is why you are not familiar with this. Okay. Okay. And so far what I like you to remember, so wherever you see a square bracket, then you see that this is an array. We're using an array. Okay. So usually there are two kinds of array we handle. One is called static array or linear array. So linear array, let's go one by one. And static array, that means whenever we declare an array, we fix its length. We give a fixed number to assign its length. And while we run our program, we cannot change the array length. Okay, that is called static array, but there is a concept of dynamic array that you will learn in 1322. In dynamic array, it is possible to change the array length. You can put any number of elements in an array. Okay, so here is the concept is that this is my array. Array's name is my array. So if my array is like that, so in the previous program, so far we discussed, we declare only one variable, right? We declare only one variable, and then when you declare one variable, then that variable took one single memory space. So for instance, if you need to handle 100 or 1000 variables, so then what will happen? Those 100 or 1000 variables will take place in computer memory randomly, whenever they get position and into position they take place. But for instance, what do? If we have many books in our shelf, we organize the books, right? In library, how do we quickly find a book? Manual library, not one line. So you see that all books are numbered, right? They have an organized numbers, they are serially, alphabetically, and then it is easy for anyone to, a librarian or an assistant to find a book, right? The book are organized. Okay, but what would happen if the book are not serially maintained or organized? Then even if you have 100 books, it would be difficult for you to find out the book, right? Luckily, you could get a book, the first place, but more chance that you will be unlucky. Okay, so in our array, all data reside together in a nearby place, so it is easy to handle, right? So in an array, so this is an array, for instance, all array that start with index 0, that is counted, is being counted with an index 0. Okay, so here is a, so 0 to 7, 6, that means there are 7 slots over here. So as a human being, if we count something like 7 slots, we usually start from 1 to 7, right? 1, 2, we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Okay, so how about if we need to count 10 elements or 10 slots? How do we count? Naturally, we start counting from 1, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, but as a computer scientist, we can be habited to start counting with 0. We can say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Still there are 10 numbers, right? But did you realize that there are some advantages of starting from 0? The disadvantage of starting from 1 is that in order to get 10 numbers, the last number will be 1, 0, right? The 2 digits, right? Last number has 2 digits. So there, if you have 2 digits, so what is the combination of 2 digits? We have 99 combination, right? 100 combination, 0 to 99, right? 0 and last 99. So whenever you have only 10 numbers, there is a misuse of other digits. But if you start from 0, then up to 0 to 9, still you are getting 10 numbers, but the advantage is that all of these have only single digit, right? Maybe the mathematicians, people invented ancient era. In ancient era, people invented 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 first. They invented 0 later. Okay, maybe if they invented the 0 first, maybe we would be used to counting from 0. But we are used to counting from 1, right? So, but in order to do array operation, we need to change our habit. What habit we need to change? We need to start counting from 0. Okay. So we say 0 to 6, that means there are 7 elements. Okay. So 0 is the first address or location we say called index of this array, and the last index is, what is the size or length of this array is 7. Okay, 7 minus 1 is 6. 6 is the last index. So length is always goes to the last index plus 1, and vice versa, the last index goes to length minus 1. Okay. So everybody remember that this array, we can say the my array is the name of my array, and it starts with the index 0 and it goes all the way 6. So there are 7 elements. Okay, and this is the pseudocode. In pseudocode format, we use we say create my array, then within square bracket we say 5. That means I'm declaring an array, name is my array, and that has size 5. So now we see that the square bracket, whenever you see square bracket, then this means that this is an array. Okay, this is not a single variable. So everyone understand this? So far, anyone has any question? So creating an array in pseudocode like has this format, but creating an array is different, quite different in language to language. Okay, please remember that So in Java and C#, you will see this is the way to declare an array. For now, just memorize this. Okay. So we use new operator. So for now, just memorize this. Later you will learn what is called new when you will learn object-oriented, start object-oriented programming. So int, okay, we know that int is an abstract word and new is an abstract word, right? We agreed that from the beginning in this class that we will use many abstract things, right? We will not ask any question what is mean by new at this point. Okay. So here my array is array and then its size is 5. So at this point actually it will create an empty array. There will be no value. Okay, and then what will happen? So you see that this is the array symbol. So this symbol actually this is a part of type. So this symbol is a part of type. So if people say that int array my array. My array, that means I will read aloud this way. My array is an integer type array that has size 5. Okay, so actually this array symbol is a part of the type. So sometime in your some book you will see that this comes. Actually, I'm telling you that this is part of the type, but in some book you may see that it is in middle. It is okay. Some book you may see that it is in the within before the array. Still it is okay, but maybe in some book you will see. In some languages you will see that it is after the name of the array, but still it is a part. This is a part of type. You understand? So in C++ and Java, array is declared like this way. So this is my array will be an empty array. By default, all 5 slots will be initialized by 0. But later, you can do that. So if you want to initialize values, different values, then this is the way you are declaring. You are declaring the first element with index 0 equal to 10, then second element with index 1 equal to 20, and go so on. So how many elements it can contain? Maximum 5. It can have less number of elements, but it cannot exceed 5 because length is 5. Okay, but this is in C++, C# and Java format, but in C# it is quite different. In C#, in Java still we can use this, but in Java still we can use this, but in C++ quite we will use this size. That size we can fix by number, and we say int my array. This is my array size. Size even you can say 5 over here. So if you do not have this statement, still you can say 5. So this is my array is an integer type array. So 5. So as we discussed, what is mean by int my array 5? So what is the restriction and properties of this array? My array here. The main restriction that this is an integer type array, right? It must hold only integer type array. It cannot hold any string type or float type or boolean type or other than integer type. Okay. It can hold byte type or short type if those are within the range. So for instance, we discussed in one of the lecture, maybe we discussed. So do you remember that we discussed? So this is, if this is the size, for instance, for an integer we have, for integer type we have, for integer type we have 32 bits, right? Okay, and then for the short type is 16 bit, right? And this is will be your byte type. Byte type is 8 bit, right? 8 bits. So that means all bytes types bytes are integer. All short are integer, right? All bytes and all short are integer, but not all integer are byte. Not all integer are short, right? So the number whatever we have here, in this position, this area are integer but not short. Okay, the number including these are either short or integer but not byte. So if you have an array of integer type, you may have value of byte type or short type. Those are permissible because byte and short are subset of integer type. You understand? So if you have an array of integer type, this is an interview question. Okay. If you have an array of integer type, you can have byte type data. Okay. And if you have an array of integer type, you can have short type data, any short type data. But if you have an array of byte type, you may not have any short type or integer type data because only if the integer value or byte value lies between this area, then it will work. Otherwise, it will not permissible. Did we understand this? So the limitation is that must be an integer value, right? Okay. So in C++, we declare an array like this. Okay. So anyone has any questions so far? So now how do we access elements of an array? So in order to access elements of an array, we use indices. Okay. So this is index of this array. My array, this is the fourth index 4, that means it is the fifth element. It points to the fifth element. So here, why do it denotes the fifth element? Remember that when I discussed an array, it starts with the index 0. So index, this 4 means fifth element, right? This is first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So whenever we say like this, so 4, that means it is the fifth element. And here in this client is, this is an integer type, but this variable is being assigned by an array element. Which element? The fifth element of this array. So this is a common mistake we do in this mistake in pronouncing and sometimes even in programming, that this denotes the fifth element, not the fourth element. Okay, why it denotes the indicate is the fifth element? Yes, because we start from index 0. Okay. So when you're in your test, you will be given, you may be given some code. Okay, for instance, if you say you need to change or you need to assign this client variable, for instance, client is by the 65th element. Okay, 65th element will go 64, right? Not 65. Remember that? So this is the important thing you need to remember. But we do common mistake because as a human being, we started with 0, right? So as I told you that in order to do array operation, we need to change our habit. Okay. So all electronic devices, computer, calculators, they start from 0, counting from 0. So here we say create my array. So it is my array 50, right? So how many elements we can hold in this array? 50, right? Maximum 50, right? So if we say my array 59, that means we are indicating this 59th index. That means 50th position, okay? And we are assigning that value by an integer number 12. Okay, since this array is an integer, so by default in pseudocode format, arrays are integer type. Okay, so here can we say in this program, can we say it like this? Can we say this? Can we say this? What is mistake here? What is wrong here? Do you see from the back? Yeah, tell me what is wrong here? Sorry? Yes, please speak loudly. I can hear you. So yeah, is putting 12 in the what position? In which position putting 12? 51 position, right? So is there any 51 position in this array? No, right? So it's obvious that we have the maximum position is 50, right? So this is an invalid statement, and you will see that this is a common mistake in programming, and then it gives an exception or error in your program. It says array out of index bound array. So it is out of index. So index is maximum. You can say 15. This is fine. Okay. You can say 25. That is fine. You can say 45. That is fine. You can say 49. That is fine. But if you cannot say 50, because this is the maximum, you cannot exceed this. You understand? Okay. So in your maybe in your quiz or interview or some test, you will get this kind of question. Okay. Okay. Anyone has any question? Okay. So here in pseudocode format, so this is create my array of 5, size 5. So how many slots I do have? We have 5 slots from 0 to 4, index 0 to 4, right? So these are the slots 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you say 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, so that it will happen like this. So like this. Same thing. Okay, this statement is same thing like this. Okay, so that means you are assigning first value with 10. First value has index 0, second value has index 1 with 20, and third value is index 30, and like this. Can we say my array 5 equal to 60 or something? Can we say? Cannot, right? It will give you an error, so we cannot say. It's wrong. Did you understand this? So if you understand, this is the tricky thing, that is the restriction. You cannot have this. Okay. So once you understand, then accessing array elements is easy in C++ and in C# and in Java, and all 3 languages you say like this. So you can use an array element and to assign a normal variable, value of a normal variable, or vice versa. You can assign a value to an array element by another element or by another variable or any data. But one thing is that type must match. Okay, type must match. That means type must be consistent. What did I mean by consistent? By this. If you have an array of integer type, that can hold either byte type data or short type or integer type. Okay, remember this. So Is it recording? Okay. Sometime, so in programming language, there is a built-in property or built-in method is called length. That is used to find the length of an array. Whenever you declare an array, we can use the length method. So this is length. Sometime in some languages, it is used as a property like C#. And some languages, there is a length method. So we can use length method or property to find the length or size of an array. So we can go maximum from 0 to length -1 index. So a for loop is widely used to initialize value or accessing array elements. Okay, so let us go line by line. So for the next few slides, it will be same thing. Okay, for instance, you declare an array. Whenever you declare an array, my array 5, that means what will be length of my array? 5, right? So then actually it will create an array and then initialize all elements, all what is that cause? All slides, all cells by 0. Okay, so in our home we have, or in our home or apartment like we live in, so there are multiple rooms, right? If we live in a room, for instance, if I have a house that has 3 bedrooms, but if I am living alone, there is nobody, can I live in more than one room at a certain time? No, right? I can, as a human being, I can live only one room, either my bedroom or second bedroom or third bedroom, right? I cannot live at a certain time. I can live in more than one room, right? So, but if I do not live in a room, the room is still empty. We say empty room, right? But still that is occupied by air or something, right? There is something like air. Okay, so in programming languages, if we not use the room, that is occupied by 0 by default or some garbage. Okay, so these 0 are default value. Okay, now if we want to write a program like this code, what will happen? This code, if we write this code, this index is initially 0. Okay, look at this next few slides. I'll go quickly, but that what is happening here, or these are in pseudocode. So the next line, next iteration, what will do? It will say I equal to 0. So my array I 0, that means my array 0, right? So my array 0, that position will indicate this position, and this position will fill by 42. So then next time 42 will come here. Okay, and the next iteration, it will go to the for loop again, and it will happen this for loop I will be 1. So you see I loop 1, right? So that I loop 1, so that it will come here, and so that it will indicate this position, and then and this position it will put. So previously it will put my array 1 will be assigned by 42. So 42 will come over here. And then after that I will be, so next it will go to the next loop, and I will be 2. And then in the next iteration, when I becomes 2, then it will indicate second, third element with index 2, and it will replace this third element by 42, and it will go like this way. So I like you to go to these slides. So on this, the same thing that are happening, changing the slides, the index values. Okay, and ultimately at the end you will, at some point you will get, whenever I becomes 5, so then it goes, this statement will be false, right? If I equal to 5, then this statement will be false, and then go, then at this point it will go out of the array. Okay, so has anyone any question so far? So if you understand looping control statement, then accessing array is simple. It's not a big deal. So one thing that you remember that, as I told you, that in most of the programming languages, there is a length built-in variable. So for now, understand is a variable. Actually, it is a property or a method that is used to find the length of that array. So if you say length, then you must use less than sign. You cannot use less or equal sign. So if I use less or equal, what will be the problem? So this equal sign will make a great mistake in my program. What will be my mistake over here? If I give equal. Can anyone recall?
Because length.
So for instance, if my length is 5, okay. Go ahead, please.
Length doesn't start at 0.
Yeah, it started from 0.
The length doesn't start at 0, so it'll error.
No. So length actually will, for this array, my length is 5. Length will give a 5. So then what will happen here? If you say, for instance, so for 5, so we can go from 0 to 4, right? So less or equal to 5, that means it will reach 5, but I'm not allowed to reach 5, right? So if I want to use this equal sign, then I need to use a -1. I need to give -1. This is the tricky thing. In some programming languages in book, in some programs, you will see like this. You will see like this. You will see length -1. Then if you have -1, then you have must have less or equal sign. But in some point or most of the point where I prefer not to use equal sign, and then if you use less than sign, then you do not need to use this minus. If we use this, and still if we use this, then it will go out of index error. It will make an exception, okay? So anyone has any question? So in most of the modern programming languages like Java and C#, there is also for each statement. Okay, for each is used for object mainly. Okay, you will understand object later. So for each, say use a for each, that means use for int I. Say actually for each it will be here. For each int I, say here we said this pronounced as in, in. Okay, in some languages it is used in specifically, but in some languages we use the colon sign, but we pronounce as in. Okay, so for each I int t in data storage, that means t, this data storage is my array, so it will go through all of the elements in this array. Okay. Has anyone any question? So in C#, L is in uppercase, and in Java and C++, in Java especially, L is in lowercase. When you go live program in our next lecture, we will understand this. Okay, so these are the slides. I like everybody to go, and I want to give this one as a homework. So today's homework is only 1 or 2 programs. So this program, in this program, you will declare an array, and you will find the sum or product and average of the array. You can declare an array, for instance, any array of set of size 5 or 10 or whatever. You see that? You understand that? If you understand this part. So this will make an array of 5 elements, right? If I give 5, 0, this will make an element of 50. If I give another 0, this will be create an array of 500 elements. So if you understand with 5, then you should be able to do any size of array. Okay, so the operation are basically same, because we can use length method or we can use length property to go through the loop array elements. Okay, so I like you to practice all of this, like this program. Okay, I like everybody to practice this program. If you are smart enough, you can find this program in my account, Replit account, or you can do it Google search, you can get it, but I like you to do some practice by yourself. Give a try, give out a try, and see if you understand. Okay, so if you understand this, then you will be, so for instance, this program and then another program that it will ask you. So that was one problem, and another problem that I'm giving another homework. So it will ask you to find the smallest element of an array. Okay, if you are able to find the smallest element of an array, then you will be able to find the largest element, right? Okay, so and many similar problems you can solve. So I like you, so there are a few slides. I like you to go through these slides before you come to our next lecture. These are actually same thing that I previously stressed out, another program. And I like you to practice this program, especially then you will know how to find the minimum number from an array, and if you are able to do that, you will be able to do the maximum element of that array also. There will be a single change, yeah, like in this code. So, but in the next lecture, I will discuss this program, but I like you to go through this program and go through these slides before you come to our next lecture and do some practice. Okay, so an array operation will be interesting. Okay, so if you start programming with array, there will be an interesting thing. You will get interest and you will have some advanced learning. So has anyone any questions so far? These are the like introductory discussion of an array, and in our next lecture we will go through live code. Okay. So people who are online, has anyone any question? Is everybody good? So I see Jane Baker, you raised your hand. Do you have any question?
No, sorry, I forgot to put it down earlier.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Okay, so this should be an interesting reading. Okay, so go to this slide, then you have book. Okay, read the book, please. And before you come to our next lecture, please do at least some practice. Okay, the 2 programs I give, we at least do these 2 programs. Okay, if you don't have any question, then I want to wrap up today. And thank you, everybody. And we have a good evening.